Hey YouTube land, I'm live here in the studio working on some stuff, painting. I'm tracing some canvases. I'm going to paint some Highlanders, a couple of different styles. So thanks for stopping in. And actually this is exactly what an online paint party looks like. So if you'd ever wondered, like you've probably seen that, you know, I do live paint parties and online paint parties. And this is what the online one looks like. We've got a window where we can chat and say, hey, we've got the online camera here so you can see everything that's happening. And actually we're going to do an online paint party over at JP's December 16th. So if you're part of the Treasure Fam, or even if you're not part of the Treasure Fam yet, come join us. I'm going to trace some canvases here. If you drop in, say hey. I've just got some carbon paper here and a little tool. I don't even know what you call it. And yes, I do trace every canvas for my paint parties. I've got a couple of good sized ones coming up here pretty soon. One at a local art gallery. We're doing a paint night with this fun Highland cow. And then one at a local restaurant. We're doing a paint night also with this cow. So I thought I'd hop on here and show you what it looks like. If you were thinking about coming to those paint parties, or if you're considering joining me for an online paint party, you can kind of see what it looks like. Get a little preview here. So for an online paint party, since we're not together, there's a couple of different ways we can do it. If you have your own painting stuff, I can email you the tracer and you can print it out. This is the tracer, by the way, and transfer it to your canvas. And you don't have to use carbon paper to do that. There's a couple of different ways you can do it. But I'll show you how you can transfer the tracer onto your canvas. Just lost my train of thought. Oh, so you can, use your own supplies at home. But if you don't already have painting stuff and you want to do an online paint party with me, I also sell art kits. So it has everything you need, the pre-traced canvas, paintbrushes, paint, everything ready to go. So that's another option for painting fun. Art kits are like art lessons to go. It's got everything you need in there for a fun project except a cup of water. And I'm actually tracing this canvas so that I can paint like a sample painting for these fun paint parties that I've got coming up. So I like to paint it ahead of time, of course, and record it so that you can kind of get a preview of what it's going to be like. A lot of people think, these paintings are difficult, or if they haven't painted before, maybe they won't be able to do it. But hey, blistering, how's it going, Jamie? But I make it super easy. I've been an art teacher all my life, so I know how to make it super extra easy for you. I break it down step by step. We do it together. Like I even tell you which brush to use. I make it really easy and super fun. The nice thing about painting is it's very forgiving. Painting problems are super easy to solve. Wish all our problems in life were that easy to solve. I'm tracing this canvas so I can paint it. Sometimes I paint without a tracer, but sometimes it's nice to have some guidelines to go by. And it's definitely nice when we're doing the paint parties to have some guidelines to go by. So you don't have to concentrate as hard on, the drawing part. You can just concentrate on the fun painting part. Some hair going in my face here. going to be a mess later. All right, so I've got a white canvas that I just traced with some carbon paper. I'm going to paint this one like I'm glad you're doing well. I'm going to paint this one with kind of beachy colors and give it a turquoise Santa hat, maybe a pink candy cane. We'll see. And then I have this black canvas that I'm going to paint. I'm going to leave the background of this one black and paint bright red Santa hat and candy cane and ornaments. So this one's going to be super bold with black and red. And since it's a black canvas, I'm going to use my white transfer paper. It's just like carbon paper, but it's got white stuff on it, transfer stuff. I don't know what you call it. Messy stuff. That's what. So since this canvas is black, when I trace over this, it'll leave a white image on my black canvas. So then I'll be able to paint it. And the nice thing about that is I'm going to leave the background on this one black. So it eliminates the step of having to paint the background. Because really the fun part is painting the cow. And the way that works, it looks really complicated when you look at the picture, but it's really not. The way that it works is we put down a first, like a base layer of paint in some big shapes, just general, real quick. Doesn't even have to look good because we're going to go back over that with all the little fun hair shapes later. So we're going to do a quick base layer with some colors on different sections of our cow. And then we're going to go back later and add all the fun texture of hair. And I think that's the part that seems intimidating to a lot of people is the hair and the fur, but really that's the fun part to paint. And acrylic paint is so forgiving. You can't do it wrong. I call it no fear paint because if you paint something you don't like, you can just paint over it and try again. Or if the paint is still wet and you decide you don't like it, you can use a wet wipe and wipe it right off. So there's literally nothing to fear. You can't do it wrong. If you, yeah, you too. See you next time. Hey, thanks. Yeah, I'm going to stay on here for a few minutes and get these paintings going, and then I'm going to pop off so I can concentrate and finish them real quick. Before Swifty and I go live this evening, I go live with the Swifties at 7:30 over on his channel. So I'm just finishing up a day's work here with some painting. Let's see, did I miss any lines? Or what lines did I miss? Oh, I didn't get the eye on this one. I always check and see which lines I missed because I usually, especially when I'm, like after I've traced about 6 or 8 or 10 of these, I've kind of got all the steps down, so I'm not going to miss anything. But when I'm first starting out, it's easy to miss something. Hey, Swifty. Good to see you from the other room in there. I'm going to curl that back up and put it back in the box because you can use this many, many times. It does not, it hardly wears out. This transfer paper. And it comes in a lot of different colors too for whatever surface you're painting on. You can always make something visible. Comes in handy. All right, we've got our canvases traced here. You know what? I'm going to put... but what if I want to make the other one? I got a lot to learn about StreamYard and going live on YouTube and all. I don't know, Swifty, can you help me out? Well, I'm trying to make it where my painting camera is larger and my face is smaller, you know? Like, I've got this, got that going on, but I would like to make it where it goes automatically to that. See what I'm saying?
I'll take yourself off the screen. I don't know.
That was a good try.
What do you got going on? Oh, how you got it set up.
Well, thanks for trying to help. Yep.
Go to view, maybe. I don't know.
I'm not going to worry about it right now.
Hey,
it'll be fine. I'm learning. Let's see.
Share screen.
Well, no, I'm not really sharing a screen. I've got 2 different devices signed in. So anyway, this is the boring part, you guys. Let me get some fun painting part going. How about that? I'm ready for that. Let's see. I think I'll start with this one. Holiday Highlander. This is what it's going to look like when it's more or less. There we go. Cute Highland cow with the Santa hat, some ornaments, a cute candy cane. So let's see. Since I'm painting over black with this red, I'm actually going to add a little bit of burnt sienna to it to add a little opacity and give me a little better coverage. And since it's a reddish brown, those will play nicely together. Let's see. I like that. That's a nice deep red there. And it gives us pretty good coverage. Probably still going to need 2 coats. That's okay. So what I'm really doing on this first coat is just trying to get an even layer of paint on here. And I'll add some more details next time. Next layer. And then we can even finish up with some fun things like glitter or gold. That's always fun to add. I have some really nice metallic pearl white that I like to use as accents in the hair too. That's super cute. I'm not super worried if I get a little paint outside of the ornament here because I can go back after that dries with the black and touch it right up. Not a big deal. In fact, I kind of expect that. Painting isn't perfect. It's like a back and forth. You know, when you look at the finished painting, you don't see all of the process, you know, all of the layers and all of the back and forth and things that got covered up or fixed or changed. You just see the neat end result. But there's a lot of messy middle in between the beginning and the end. That's for sure. think I'm going to switch to a small, oh, I know I've got a large red area over here too. Look at that. I almost forgot this one. I was about to rinse my brush. To get into tight corners like this, I like to turn my brush sideways and start from the corner and work my way out. That gives you a nice mark there at the edge. Although we're going to go back on the other side and make some more color, so it doesn't really matter. Here we go. I'm going to use a smaller brush for the stripes on the candy cane. If you're watching the replay, say hi in the comments. Still too large. I did not offload my brush first that time, so it made a mess. Offloading your brush is when you dip your brush in the paint and then you touch something before you touch your painting. Sometimes you might touch your paint rag, or you might touch your palette or a piece of scrap paper. I have a book that I usually use for offloading, so it can make something interesting of it later, but it helps it there not be a big blob when you start on your painting. Like there was with that last brush I used that made a big blob, a big mess. But I just wiped it away and tried again. No big deal. All right, I believe that's all the red areas in that painting. So we'll let that one dry a little. And we'll just do the same step. Oh, I got my tracing brace under there. Kawaii drawing book. Do the same thing over here, and this time I'm going to make the... You know what? I think I'm going to do it just like this, but I'm going to make it turquoise. I'm going to make the Santa hat and the ornaments and the candy cane all turquoise. Hey, headed to the creek. How's it going, Brian? And Mary and little P, I bet you're all there together. Good to see you. You probably heard Stephanie from the kitchen, and Patsy had to chime in too. Oh my goodness. She loves to bark at anything. I'm working on some cute Highland cows. Getting ready for some paint parties I have coming up. And I want to offer this coastal version of the Highlander as an art kit too, because I think it would really go well with a lot of folks' decor around here rather than the kind of, I mean, I like the bright red one too for Christmas, but my Christmas is a little more pastel these days. Still at work. Me too, man. This is my work these days. And I could not feel more blessed, just absolutely blessed to do what I do. I get to make art with people and make them happy. It's amazing. Let's see. Dog drama. If you have dogs, you understand. Doggy drama. Never ending. Hey, thanks. Good to see you. See you later, Brian. That's right. It is Friday afternoon. Y'all might be headed up to the cabin this weekend. If you are, enjoy. Yeah. It is Friday. Which also means that Swifty and I will be going live later on this evening on his channel. So come check that out too. Well, I already said it's 7:30. I'm not going to forget this part this time. We're just doing some color blocking here, so it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just making our first layer. All right, now on to this candy cane. Are you a candy cane fan? Yes or no? I think they're cute, but I don't really care to eat them. Honestly, I'd rather have chocolate. Rather have chocolate. Let's see. I don't know. Can you? No, you can't really see. She's too close to me, Marilyn Monroe, but you can hear her tick, tick, ticking around back there. So for these little shapes, I kind of like to just outline with my smallest brush here, sort of outline the shape, and then fill in the middle. All right, got all my turquoise done there. Now we're gonna color block the Highlander's head. So let's see, I've got some yellow ochre, light yellow ochre that I'm gonna use for my lightest brown. And then we're gonna use the burnt sienna and a burnt umber brown. So this painting is kind of just an exploration of different browns. Kind of fun that way. Brown is a color that sort of gets the short end of the stick in art a lot, you know. I mean, you got to have it to make teddy bears and trees, but it really doesn't get to shine a lot, you know. It does in this one. All right, so we've got 3 yellows here, and to make it easy when we're painting this together, I call it mustard brown, ketchup brown, and chocolate brown because you get it. So I'm going to start with my lightest, my mustard brown here, yellow brown. And if you're doing an online paint party with me, I said earlier, I send you the tracer so that you can download that and print it and trace your canvas. I also send you a supply list of paints that we're going to be using. And by and large, you can mix any color that you need. If you have a good set of acrylic paint, you can make your own colors. You don't have to have yellow ochre. You can mix yellow and brown and make your own tannish brown. So It's not like you have to have the specific colors or paints that I'm using. You can see I'm just quickly filling in these shapes so we can get to the fun part. And it doesn't have to look perfect because we're just going to cover it up anyway with all that fuzzy hair. I am trying to make sure that I want to cover up all the white spots of the canvas. So you can just kind of brush your paintbrush back and forth over any areas where that white is kind of showing through. I'm not even too worried about staying in the lines because I know I'm going to come back with another color later. So, all right, to color those 3 spots with my mustard brown, I'm going to do the same thing on this gal. And since we've got the black canvas, I can just carefully paint around her black eye, and then I don't have to paint that part. I'm just painting those same 3 areas here. After I'm done here today, I'll put a link in the description to my website so you can see all of the fun art kits that I have right now. I've got a fun group of fall art kits that came out not too long ago, including some fun black light options if you're into groovy things like that. Got a couple on the wall back here. The sugar skull and the ghost ship, some witches. There's a lot of fall things happening back there. And then I just came out with my Christmas art kits. Got a couple on the easel. Beachy pinkmas and starfish tree. So a couple of, and then we've got the holiday Highlander also in the Christmas art kits. All right, so we've got those 3 areas with our mustard brown, yellowy brown there. Next, we're going to add some of that reddish brown. And that's going to go a little bit on this side. And I am going to take care here at the edge of this white, where the white's going to be on the hat. I don't want too much brown to go over there because then I just have to spend some time covering it up. So that is a case of it's easier to just be neat the first time. Not that you can't cover it up, but it's just kind of a pain. Who wants extra work? So I'm going to put this reddish brown right across the middle here, all the way over to here on this part of our Highlander's hair. This paint is a little thick. It doesn't really want to cover that well, so I'm adding a little water as I go. That's more like it. We're just covering up this whole middle area here. Where are the happy little trees? No happy little trees yet. That would be actually the happy little trees are the Christmas trees back here. That's where the happy little trees are. Okay, now let's add that same red brown on our holiday Highlander here. Thinking we might need a little more. Thinking I might need some more of this. It's not one to come out. There we go. Almost. Come on, burnt sienna. There we go. And I just want to make sure I cover up the white line here on this canvas, right around the edge. And it just went over the edge some there into the mustard yellow, but it will not matter at all. You notice how I'm kind of outlining these shapes and then filling them in. It's still a good approach even when you're doing large areas. All right, now on to our chocolate brown. And we're going to make our cow's ears and its body this chocolate brown. And then we'll mix a nice rosy pink brown for her nose. That is a good question, though, Swifty. Where are the happy little trees? You got to have the happy little trees. And it may not look like much right now, like, oh my goodness, how is this ever going to look good in the end? But it does. We're still solidly in the messy middle here, so have faith. If you've been to one of my live paint parties, you know at the beginning I make you take a promise with me that you promise that you'll suspend judgment of your painting and your neighbor's painting until you're done. And that's really important because this messy middle is enough to discourage anybody. If you stopped right now, you might think that's about the worst thing I've ever painted in my life. But if we just keep going with the and trust the process, when we get to the end, you'll be pretty amazed. And just spread the rest of this brown out here. Cover up this cow body. We're going to have these two colors together here, so it's going to disappear for a minute, but that's okay. We'll bring it back when we make all the fuzzy fur and the hair. All right, how about some chocolate brown on our other cow? A little more brown here. All right, now our girl's body. Oh, you know what? I missed that spot. Gotta go to the cow. Since I wanted to paint two versions of this cow anyway, I decided it was probably just as fast to paint both of them together. You know, I don't have to. I already have the chocolate brown on my brush. I can just go ahead and paint this part on this painting too. So that's why I'm doing two at once. And now we can start to see how those neighboring colors really kind of shape up those first things we painted. You know, gives it a nice edge when the two edges of paint come together. I noticed that I had a little white spot on my canvas up there. Kind of wanted to cover it up with that chocolate brown paint, even though it wasn't technically in the lines. The lines are just like guidelines. I like to think of them as suggestions, you know. They're not like rules. It's not hard and fast, like you have to paint it here. Just a suggestion, a beginning. a starting place. Spread that brown paint out a little more. And you can really see the difference in between painting on a white background with these dark brown colors and painting on that black background. You can see how much richer and deeper the browns are on this one because it has that black background. And here it's a lot brighter. So your underpainting makes a big difference. I do some paintings, paint parties and art kits that have underpaintings with them. And it seems like, why do we have to do this first step? But it makes such a difference in the finished product when you add the oh, I didn't finish the chocolate brown up there. When you add that underpainting, and plus it gets rid of that problem of you're trying to spread your paint out and you have all those little white canvas dots, because the canvas has a really strong texture, and sometimes the paint just doesn't want to get down in all those little divots. And sometimes I paint on canvas, but I like painting on other things too. I like painting on wood. It's nice and smooth. You don't have that texture problem, and you can get a different quality of brush strokes on it too. Different textures. Okay, I think that's the last brown spot there. Now, let's mix a nice color for her nose. We're going to use some I'm going to use this red and this tan together. I think I need a little more red. I think it wasn't quite different enough from the other yellow brown there. Let's just wipe that off and try again. I think a little rosier. That's more like it. But now I have too much water on my brush. It's making this thinning my paint out. So I'm gonna dry my brush off. Get some paint on there and try again. I wanted to be neat around her nostrils since those were black, but I was really messy instead, so that's okay. I can just go back later with the black and touch them up with a small brush. Cat hair. Always a danger of that in here. Or maybe even of a cat walking across my painting, or my palette, even worse. Quickly followed by lots of colorful footprints all over the house. Oh my goodness. Kind of mixing these together until I get a nice rosy color that I like. I think that's pretty good. You have to find just the right balance with your water on your paintbrush. Enough to make your paint flow, but not enough that it's going to water your paint down. All right, after we get our base coat on our nose here, I think we're close to being finished with sort of our base coats for the brown. It's kind of the boring beginning of the painting, you know, where you have to get all the colors in there to start with. I'm going to paint these horns. You know why cows wear bells? Because their horns don't work. Be forewarned, my paint parties also come with silly jokes free of charge. I'm going to put a little yellow ochre here on the bottom side of this horn. Need a little water. Do the same thing on this side. And I'm going to clean my brush really well and put some white right on top. And I'll put white on the, I want the top of the horn to be a really nice clean white. So I'm going to go ahead and put white on the top of both of these. And then I'll bring it down to meet the yellow ochre. And I'll just wipe most of the white off my brush, and I'm just going to brush back and forth right here at the edge of the yellow ochre and the white to kind of blend them together. Need a little bit of that yellow ochre there so it kind of blended in. It was looking kind of lonely over there. And that'll give our cow's horns a little bit of dimension. Not dementia, dimension. Put a little more white on there because I felt like it was got a little dark. There we go. Wipe that off. Let's get some of this brown here to kind of fix where I got carried away with the horn. I was saying about painting being kind of a back and forth, you know, you don't have to worry about being perfect because you can always go back with the other color that's beside it and kind of fix it, touch it up, make it better. Just like that. No fear paint. I've got this chocolate brown. I'm gonna do a little second coat here over some places that look a little thin. Cover up that paler canvas back there. Okay, pretty good. Somebody liked my joke. Actually, not my joke. I stole it from Swifty. Not my joke. All right, let's do the same thing to the horns on this canvas. Take a little bit of that yellow ochre. Put it right at the bottom of the horn. This time I am going to bring it up a little bit. And I didn't worry about covering up these lines. We're going to paint over those later, so you don't have to worry about that right now. Okay, we'll wipe off that yellow ochre. We'll get some white going on the top here. Alright, now I'm just going to go back and forth right over where the yellow ochre and the white meet. Blend those together. And again, I'm not too worried about the outline of this horn because I know I can always take the black and go right over the edge there and fix it up. Hey, that's looking pretty good. Our cows are shaping up. Let's add another layer of red to our hat and our candy cane and our ornaments here. And we're getting close to the fun hair part. That's really the most fun part of this painting, the fun hair. That's what gives your cow a lot of character and spark. And about this time of our painting, we might be thinking about, what are we going to name our cow? And your cow's personality is really going to start to come out when we make all that fun hair. You can see how that second layer of red just really makes it pop on that black background. It's so much brighter. Red is a quite transparent color, so it needs that second layer to really bring it out. Since I've got the corners and everything already established, it's easier to go back with my large brush and just add some paint in there. All right, we've got second coat on there. I don't know if we need a second coat of turquoise on our coastal cow gal. I think she's good to go. So we are going to add some I'm going to add a little bit of black to this painting. Her nostrils and her eye. I didn't bring the black over. Here's some different black. Probably not good. Oh, wait. There's some black. It'll do. Now the reason I wanted this particular black is because it's the same black as the background in this painting. So I'll be able to use that around the edges of things that I want to fix there. And it'll match the background. You can buy canvases that are already painted black, but the problem is your black paint and the black gesso that's on that canvas are likely not going to match. So if you want to do any black touch up, it's going to kind of stand out. So I paint my canvases black for my paint parties. So I know we will be able to touch it up. All right, we got those nostrils right in there. Let's see. I have to decide what color I want the background in this one. I was thinking like it's really nice mint green. This is gonna look good. But I think before we do that, let's can use this black paint to touch up a few things on this gal, like touch up around these ornaments. And it's amazing once you do that, it's like it was never there. Ooh, that ornament looks perfect now. How did that happen? All right, let's see. I think we're good on, but I want to touch up a little around our horn here. I see a little white on here. That's just from my tracing paper, so I think that's just going to all rub off. I'm not worried about that. Well, I think I want to play with the shape of her eye here too. A brush. Make it a little rounder in the corners, a little softer. More like that. All right, I'm going to see if this red is dry here. Yeah, that looks good. So, I'm going to add some white in the hat. And I've got a bunch of paint on my large flat brush here, and I'm just going to smoosh it up and down to make a fun texture on that white part of the hat. So we'll just fill in the whole hat with this fun texture, and you can kind of turn your brush while you're smooshing and it'll make it more interesting. If it's all kind of going in the same direction, it's not as interesting. But if you turn your brush while you're doing this smoosh, it'll give it a lot more interest. It'll make it look fluffier. And it gives it that, instead of a hard like painted outline, it gives it a really rough, irregular outline like something fluffy actually would have. Let's do the same thing for this part of the Santa hat. Do the same thing for the Santa hat on this cow. And it's not going to show up as much except at the edges. Just smooshing this whole fluffy part of the hat. If you go over much of the blue, you might need a little more white to cover it up. It takes about 2 layers. I'm just going to smoosh the little fluff ball here. Very nice little fluff ball. And on this black canvas, if you don't like how you can kind of see some of the black through the fluff as it dries, you can always add a second coat. Let's see, a little more white here. We're going to add some white in our candy canes. And for here, you may be wondering why it's already the white of the canvas. Why are you painting it white? Well, a couple of reasons. One, the white of the paint is not exactly the same shade as the white of the canvas, so it might not match everything later. And second, it gives those painted edges a really finished look when all of the edges are actually painted. That being said, if you want to leave it the white of the canvas, you totally can. That gives it a more finished, polished look. There we go. We've got a little candy cane. Let's put some white on the candy cane on this cow. And it looks funny right now, but after that white dries, we will outline it with black so it really pops. Let's see. This is almost dry. I'm going to encourage it so that I can paint a little bit of the, hey, park rat. I'm going to encourage it to dry so I can paint a little bit of that hair before I sign off. I'm going to mute myself while I... All right, I'm done drying with the hair dryer there. That looks great. Hey, thanks, Dana. So fun. So fun. All right, I have a few more things I want to add to this face before I get to the fun hair. There's a few details around the eye here. And a little dot of white in the eye. Sometimes it's hard to add those details later if I'm gonna always rig even here. Always rig even though it's not a contest. So hey Park Rat, hey Dana, hey Swifty. And thanks, Dana. Super fun. Let's see. I'm going to add some of that tan color we were using earlier. And I'm going to mix it with a little white here. And that's the color that I'm going to use for my Highlander's fun hair. And I'm taking my large flat brush here and I just loaded it up with paint. And now I'm just going to make lots of fun lines for the hair. I'm going to be going the same direction that the shape is going, but I'm going to use my paintbrush sideways to make some wispy hair shapes. Even add some coming out here because you know that cow is not tidy. Not like that anyway. Right, so we got some cute little hair tufts going. And we'll just use this light tan color to make hair all across our Highlander. And we want to make sure that it kind of goes up to the hat so that it looks like it's coming out from underneath it is not separate, you know. So let's see, I'm just adding some wispy hair here. And isn't it amazing how it just kind of comes together? Like all of a sudden it looks like a Highlander. We don't want to cover up all the underpainting. We just want some fun wispy hair here. And I'm putting a little bit on this section too. And every now and then I just kind of stop and I think, where might I need a little more? All right, looking pretty good. And then I'm going to do the same thing on her body, but just a little bit differently. She's got all this hair kind of hanging down here. And the hair on her body is just kind of going up and down. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that. They're shorter. Sweet. All right, we've got the basics of our cow there. 2D to 3D and a few swipes of the brush. Oh yeah, it's so true. Highlights and depth. Yep. And wait till you see what I'm going to do next. After this layer dries, I'm going to put some, it might be dry enough already. Yeah. I'm going to rinse out my brush and use some white, mostly white with just a touch of that tan, even lighter. And this time I'm just going to hit where the hair would be like coming out. So and some of the tips. And then I've got this metallic white. It's the bomb. And I'll just put a touch of that right on top of those highlights, but just a little. It does not really take very much. And it just gives it those highlights a really nice shimmer. This metallic white would even be fun to And you can see the effect there. Oh, I agree, Dana. It's so much fun to make stuff. Yep, I went to college. It was so much fun. I went to college for art. Got my bachelor's. Got most of a master's in art history, but I got kind of bored with that, honestly. So I put a little bit of that metallic white on top of the horn, just like the very top edge of the horns. It's kind of a nice accent there. Our cow gal is really coming together. 5:12. I'm gonna stay for a few more minutes and then I'm gonna sign off so we can get ready for our 7:30 feed because we're gonna pack all this up and set up all of Swifty's stuff. So I'm gonna need a few minutes to do that. But I did want to get to the hair part of this cow because it's so much fun. And you know, we need to add a few more. We need to add a few highlights down here. Speaking of Swifty, look who it is.
Moo.
Hey, you got any other good cow jokes there, Swifty?
Well, you stole my favorite cow joke.
I said other cow jokes.
I don't know.
How about knock knock?
Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Moo.
We'll put a few highlights in her hair down here. A little bit of pearl. Actually, I'm thinking that pearl would be really nice on this too. The king of rig. You're so right. Swifty was hollering rig. There's not even a contest going on. I mean, come on. Jeez Louise. What's it all about? I think I'm going to add a little more white in here. I'm not going to cover up all that texture there, but I am going to give it a little variety. Add a little white down here. Now let's add a little bit of that pearl. I get a lot. Just going to add some kind of sort of the top of the hat as kind of a little highlight there. Same thing down here. Let's see, just a few more details to add, and I think our gal will be about finished. We need a color here. Should we use that? I wonder how that pearl would look. Kind of match part of our. Oh, I think that would be nice. The metallic white there on the top of the ornaments. Lovely. And I think we'll just use that same paint for the strings that the ornaments are hanging down on here. You can use a paint pen if you have one of those for that step too. That's a great way to get a nice controlled line, or you can just go for it. I don't know if I wanted to go behind the ear or in front of the ear. I think behind the ear. So I'm going to leave it there. Let's see. Little highlight. Maybe some glitter. Can't go wrong with glitter. My favorite DecoArt Craft Twinkles. Doesn't take much. You know, I think I might add some. Oh, speaking of doesn't take much, I poured like half a pound out. Have mercy. I might put a little pop of glitter on this part too. That would be fun. Sometimes with glitter paint, it's more about just kind of touching your paintbrush up and down to leave the paint there than kind of brushing back and forth. It sort of smears the glitter off. I need more than I thought I did. I think I did need that whole big blob I had there to begin with. Some glitter on the ornaments would be nice. See, great minds think alike, Dana. Yeah, I think I might put a little glitter on the top there too. That's just kind of fun. Well, I'm so glad I got to go live for a little while this afternoon and paint with you, make this fun Highlander. Get a little practice in before my paint party. Let's see, I have one. Today is Friday. I have one next Thursday. We paint in a Highlander. And again the following Tuesday. So I've got lots of Highlander parties coming up. I gave a little shadow there so you can see those lines. And art kits. Art kits, art kits, art kits. I don't know, should I put glitter on the fluffy fuzzy part? I'm torn. I don't know. I'm going to stick with glitter on the ornaments for now. I'm going to get my small brush, outline this candy cane so it pops. You can also use the outline to make other parts of your painting pop if you want to. I think I'll add just a little line here, sort of across the bottom of the fluff. Kind of make it stand out. Then just gives it a little separation there. And do the same thing for this hair here where it comes down. down this side. Let's see. I think that's looking pretty good there. And I think I'm going to call that Christmas Highland Cow wrap. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for chatting with me, and I'll see you in a little while over at the Swifties. Bye for now.